Hey everybody, it's Ethan. Sorry I'm deviating from my normal update videos, and I thought I'd make just a video on a topic. We'll call this, like, I feel like I'm doing like the fireside chats. Was that Reagan or something? I'm not sure. Anyway, I won't embarrass myself. So anyway, yeah. So my topic on this one, and just because it came up this weekend with a friend. Just kind of talking about, you know, when in the process of transition do you consider yourself a man? Or, however you identify, male, genderqueer, FTM, trans guy, what else out there? Trans masculine, whatever you identify as. But, like, at what point in the transition can I say officially, I'm a guy? And, that is not an easy question to answer. And it's tough. I mean, there's so many things to go off of. Is it when I get my gender changed on my driver's license? Or, when I pass through the Social Security stop? Or, is it hormone related? Is it just being on hormones a certain amount of time? There's a lot of emphasis on the 1 year mark in your transition for a lot of people. Is it when I pass 100%? Yeah, there's all kinds of, like, points that it could be. And I think the cool thing is we all get to kind of decide for ourselves. But it also kind of brought up the discussion of, I mean, there's two things going on here. We're considering, like, physically, because that's why I'm transitioning. I mean, that's why most people transition. They want to be in a body that's comfortable to them, and also, that people perceive them as the correct gender. And for me right now, that's male. I want to be perceived as being a man. And to match what I feel already, and I don't want to give any impression that I don't think I am. I mean, there are days sometimes, just in this confusion of tea, and not confusion, just in this, as I try to sort myself out and really come to terms with who I am. But, so there's so much in this that can be based on the physical, and I think sometimes we get wrapped up in the physical aspect of it, and in that respect, I think, physically, I don't know, like, it's hard. I guess you could say when you pass, like, that's when you're a male, or a man, or whatever you want to identify as. But that's not always the case, and then you have to look at the mental side of this. Like, mentally, I mean, I think in most people's cases, they've always felt different, and something inside of them has not felt, matched up with their body. So, most of the time they've already felt male or genderqueer or whatever it is they're identifying as. So it's a tough topic, and complicated and convoluted by a lot of different things. But I kind of wanted to just talk about just trying to figure that all out in my own head, and because I feel like I've struggled a little bit with that. Like, for me, I don't know. I'm different on many levels, but I have this need to be kind of, like, given almost like markers, or like in my road of transition there should be a sign that I pass that says, "Congratulations, you've come to manhood." I don't know, like, you're a man now. I don't know. And, like, there's no, the road is winding, obviously, in this whole transition process, and it's long, and it can be long, and it can be months and years, and I don't know if it ever really stops. But like, we do put a lot of emphasis on significant points in the transition, and I don't know, and probably to say that you are male at any one of those points is kind of a dangerous thing, or that point should define it. Gets into some sticky territory, I guess, because you're kind of boxing yourself in. I don't know. And I think, the easiest answer to this is just that for each person, this is going to be very different, and everybody's going to come to that point in their transition in a different place. And they may already be at that point before they transition, and transitioning is just the final piece to really feeling like who they are. But I think, my conversation with my friend this weekend was more along the lines of just, I think it was bordering on the physical, like almost like, oh, is it when I get the M on my license? No, probably not. I mean, it really is up to me, and I've spent a significant portion of my life mentally feeling male. I mean, not really knowing what that felt like, but but I did feel not female for sure. And I think that's another offshoot. It's just that I'm not even going to try to venture down that path because I'm not sure how I was going to broach that topic. But just that, mentally, people come into this realization of being trans differently, and so how do you even earmark it like that? I don't know. But yeah, so it's just something I was thinking about, and I read through a book that I got online. It was really good, a great book. I thought it was a great idea, but I believe it's called Letters to My Brothers or Letters for My Brothers. Great book. Just Google like those titles, either one. It'll get you there. I think it should. If not, I might try and put it in my comments section. I have it on my computer. I'll just look at it. Anyway, great book, and it was cool because it's the premise for it is that there's it's a group of trans men that have written in letters, and it's a compilation of these letters, and that kind of gives some view of transition in retrospect. And even as they're still in transition, but years down the road, and just kind of the thoughts and feelings that evolve over that time, and what they would have said to their former selves in some cases, or just what they want to let younger trans men know, or people just beginning the process know. So great book. I definitely recommend it, and I got a lot out of it. It's great to hear all the different stories and storylines, and knowing that it just proves that like there is no normal trans storyline or no set way that you have to do this. But there was one story in particular, and there was a trans guy that addressed this, and just feeling like he had spent so much of his transition wondering, like, when is it going to be here? When am I going to be a man? Like, how do I count myself as being there? And just that at some point he got to the realization that I've already been male, and that's already how things have been. And it just took me all this time to realize that I am a man, and I've been a man in my own way, but that's how it's been. And I think that resonates a lot for me, and I think I'm going to be in that same boat. But at the same time, I don't know. I have this need to compare myself to biological males, people in my life, or just people I meet, and just how I interact with people. But yeah, I guess in my mind I have it built up that there should be this like difference in me personally, and I know T will bring certainly some mental changes, and I will process things differently. But yeah, just the whole idea of like when is it? When am I there? And I'm gonna go out on a limb here, but I did a long time ago when I was in college. I started to do my senior thesis on I was an English major basically. I tried to do my thesis on the topic of gender and how it influences writing, was essentially what I was getting to, which took me a long time to get to. And this is way before I had any inclination of that gender was an issue for me. I mean, I knew kind of it was, but subconsciously, I guess. I didn't relate it to why I was writing this this as a thesis, but so anyway, I read a lot of books, over the summer before I started my thesis class, and then I focused primarily once I started writing the thesis, and I never finished it, so I'll admit to that. I dropped out of the class. But anyway, I focused primarily on a book by Virginia Woolf, one of my favorite authors. But she wrote a book called Orlando, and I don't know if anybody's read that. It's kind of obscure. But anyway, in the middle of that book, there is what I can only describe as a transition. I mean, it is a transition. The character starts off as male in the beginning of the book, and in the course of a 7-day sleep, turns into a female and wakes up as female, and then talks about how they move through life now as a female. And certainly, there's no concept of like transgender or being transgender in this book, but it does speak to kind of that mentality of just like seeing things from that whole different perspective now that you're in a different body. And it was the same body, but just now it was female for the character Orlando. So yeah, pretty interesting text, and maybe I'll reread that because I have not read that since my senior year in college. So yeah, might be worth going back. And as a fun fact, I named my cat Orlando, which most people always ask me, is that after Orlando Bloom or the city? I'm like, nope, neither. It's after a book. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just kind of my ramblings. Anyway, I thought I'd share, and I'd be interested to hear anybody else's thoughts on, how they get to this, how they think about this topic, and yeah, it'd just be interesting to hear everybody's points. So anyway, that's it. That's all I've got. Take care, everybody.